I'm Professor Fred Ogolla. I'm here to talk to you about what is happening in the state of the nation, especially in the education sector. We have seen that over 583,000 university students are not going to continue their education because of the capitation. Because the fact is that the government has not released the 119.8 billion shillings that should go to offer scholarship, offer grants and loans for these students. And why I'm so concerned is that when education sector is not working, nothing works. Because if you look at all big towns in Kenya, they are big towns because of the education centers there. For example, if you go to a county like Siaya, if you compare Siaya town and Bondo town looks more developed because there is Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University in Bondo. And Siaya is less compared to Bondo town because of that. And if we have no one going to school in the university education, of course there is the issue of high level of crimes happening in the country, because what are these universities going to do? University students are kept away from so many things that can affect them in society. Remember, they are still very vulnerable. They are at a very delicate age. But also, if you forget about that, what about their future? If you lose 1 or 2 years because of education, what happens to you? But let me explain to you why this is the problem. President William Ruto has no priority for any Kenyan apart from elected officials. President William Ruto's strategy has always been that he tries to buy the elected officials, and by buying the elected official, he assumes that he gets control of the followers of those elected officials, and therefore he assumes control of the country. And let me tell you the example. When President William Ruto was campaigning against Raila Odinga, when Uhuru proposed to Raila Odinga to be the next president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta left William Ruto to be visiting Mount Kenya very frequently. He took control of all Mount Kenya MPs like Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro, Ichung'wah, name them, all of them, the MPs that were in Jubilee. So he was going to Mount Kenya through these MPs, and the MPs, he was giving them notes to actually hit back at Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. That gave him so much popularity that he took control of the entire Mount Kenya. And because that strategy has worked, he's now doing it in Luo Nyanza. He's doing it in Kisii as well. He has now bought all the Luo MPs. They are singing him like choir members. And they are trying to deceive him that because he's giving them money to go to their constituencies each and every weekend to sing the choir, that he has the ground. But I have information from the ground. The ground is not with those MPs. The ground is not with those people the president is talking about. Because the ground is hungry. They are hungry. They are educated people. They have no health care. They have no education. They have no meals on the table. They are jobless. There's nothing going on. So I'm telling Mr. President, this is a wrong strategy. It will not work. If there's anything that will send you home in 2027, it is that assumption that by buying Luo Nyanza elected leaders, you bought them. Because this money has not reached them. Forget about even the 4 CS from Luo Nyanza that we have. Those CSs are not doing what they're supposed to do. For example, go to Ugunja constituency and tell me how many people have been connected electricity to. And you didn't put up your and I to only connect to Ugunja constituency. What's happening place in Ugenya? What's happening place in Migori? How about Homa Bay? What's taking place in Siaya? You cannot buy elected leaders and believe that by extension you have bought the people on the ground. Because I can tell you, instead of putting money on these CSS and on these elected MPs, put money where it matters. For example, hiyo pesa ya wazee, peana. Peana edu afya to university students who are going to secondary school and primary schools in boarding. Mr. President, give the money for SHA. Let these people be able to get treatment. Because when you give people money for treatment, you alleviate their pain. Give the money for capitation for university, for secondary and primary. And that's what I'm telling you. As Alternative Leadership Concerned Citizens Alliance, we are going to ensure that we offer what's called a welfare state. What's a welfare state? A welfare state is the opposite of what President William Ruto is doing. Because President William Ruto assumes that if you ensure that you take the priority of the politicians on board, by extension, you take the priority of the citizens. But that's not the case. A welfare state insists on the welfare of the citizens. That the welfare of the citizens is the priority of the state. That's what a welfare state is. And that welfare state offers free education, free healthcare, which will inject around 2.84 trillion shillings as stimulus to the economy. Because by that time, people will ensure that they don't have to spend their money. Remember, there's high inflation. Even here, I've just talked to some policemen, and they have told me, you promised to increase the salary of policemen and the military. You have not done it. Instead of increasing, you have raided it with so many deductions, taxes, levies, and the rest. How should we ensure that if a policeman begins work at 25,000 shillings a month, you come in and deduct house levy, you deduct the NSSF, you deduct SHA, you deduct what? The pay slip is with you, it's not with the citizens. And for sure, I'm telling you, you are deducting money from us and giving them to elected officials. You have increased taxes, you have increased borrowing, and the money is going to the elected officials. I have information that the MPs visited William Ruto to State House and told them the ground is hostile and they may not get re-elected. And William Ruto has had a pact with them. That's why they are singing choir. That in 2027, that year, he's going to give every MP 85 million shillings to campaign for them to be elected, to fight the Gen Z who are trying to get to the ballot. But that strategy will misfire, because 85 million per the 290 MPs will translate to around 1.43 trillion shillings. And that is so much money. That's more than half of the money we collect in terms of taxes. So, Mr. President, you are wrong on this. Ensure students can go to school, because developed country is measured in terms of how many years people can be in school uninterruptedly. We cannot have it. For example, I was talking to some students, first-year students in University of Nairobi, are telling me teachers are not teaching, they are not lecturers, because they have not been paid. And therefore, they are just roaming on the streets. Roaming on the streets for our students who have A. It's very sad. So, Mr. President, stop that, because that is not development, and this is not something that we elected you for. And if you can't do it, we will do it for you. Thank you.